And now the story of a Netflix TV show that waited 10 months to show us its last batch of episodes, and the one YouTuber who had no choice but to watch them all together. It's Arrested Development, Season 5, Part 2. This is Andrew Fantasia. Way back in the beginning of June 2018, Andrew reviewed the first half of Arrested Development Season 5 on his YouTube channel. The review did very well, and Andrew was very excited for Season 5 Part 2 to be released so he could A. watch the show, and B. review it afterwards. It would be a 1-2 punch of fantastic awesomeness. However, Arrested Development Season 5 Part 2's release coincided with Toronto Comic-Con, where Andrew spent the entirety of the weekend working to sell his book, Side Scroller, to the Toronto Comic-Con masses. Hi there. How's it going, guys? It's me, Andrew Fantasia. Welcome to Thumb Together TV, and today we're going to be talking about Arrested Development Season 5 Part 2 together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. As the narrator probably already mentioned, I did. I have been spending all weekend at Toronto Comic-Con pimping out my book Side Scroller right back there. As of time of recording, Andrew pimped out Side Scroller to almost 24 happy convention goers. Way to go, Andrew. So I have not had a chance to watch Arrested Development this weekend at all. My plan was to, binge it right away and then get a review as fast as possible, but that didn't turn out to be the case. Thank you very much, Netflix, for putting out the season the same weekend I have to be working. Netflix would like to remind viewers that they are in no way responsible for working around Andrew's schedule. Boo on me, but at least I got to finally watch it all, and now I'm here to talk all about it. And it feels like it's been forever. It's been a long wait. Season 5 Part 1 was at the very end of May of last year, and now we've had to wait, 10 months? Yes, it is. Damn, Netflix. Damn. Damn indeed. But regardless, Season 5.2 is finally here, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes and assume crap, but I think we may have finally just seen the end of Arrested Development, as far as I can tell. Now, if you haven't watched my review of Season 5 Part 1, feel free to go back and watch it. It's in the Thumb Together TV playlist on my channel. And if you have, then you already know what I talked about. Mostly my biggest complaints were that, yes, Season 5 was picking up the pieces of Season 4 and cleaning it up, because Season 4, as impressive as it was a bit of a cluster. But it cleaned that up and it streamlined it and it started to push it in the direction of being a more focused show. And my biggest worry was I just wanted them to start focusing on the apparent death or disappearance of Lucille Ostero. That's Liza Minnelli's character. We have not seen her since Season 4. That was 6 years ago. We want to know what the hell happened to Lucille Ostero. Is she okay? Is she alive? Where is she? And 5.1 didn't really zoom in on that as much as it should have. But 5.2 absolutely was about that. In fact, the main plot line of 5.2 was trying to figure out the mystery of Lucille's disappearance. And then there were some B plots involving, George Michael's fake block company and the border wall that George wanted to put up. But that all sort of circled the Lucille Ostero thing. So I'm glad that they finally addressed this thing we've been waiting 6 years to find out about. I mean, ever since the pilot of Season 4, they've been teasing us with, something happened to Lucille, and now we finally know, almost 7 years later, what happened to her. But here's the thing. When Arrested Development Season 3 ended back in, I think it was 2006, when they were pretty certain that Fox's cancellation was the death of the series, and they just sort of wrote the ending and let it go, it was a very beautiful, cool ending that wrapped up everything. And that was already a complex story to tie up to begin with, but they did it, and they pulled it off masterfully. If this is the ending, Season 5, which I hope it is at this point, I gotta say, it ends very, very anticlimactically. I'm gonna have to spoil stuff because this is it. We're at the finale now again, supposedly. So I'm gonna have to talk about it. And the reveal of what happened to Lucille Ostero was just like a footnote at that point. Yes, they spend a lot of time blaming Buster. You get these really cool flashbacks that aren't flashbacks. That's actually like Netflix making fun of itself, making fun of its true crime dramas, and the whole phenomenon of making a murderer and all that. It's a lot of meta humor, which I love, and Arrested Development has always been good at. You get a lot of the courtroom drama involving Buster being under arrest for the alleged murder of Lucille Ostero, because nobody's been able to find her yet. That takes up a big chunk of these final 8 episodes. So I was happy about that. I was like, yes, we're finally getting the answers here. What happened? And like I said back in my other review, I was hoping that this season was going to be like a big elaborate game of Clue written by Mitch Hurwitz and company, because that would have been fantastic. And 5A didn't really do that all that much, but 5B here started to get into that. It started to go through the motions, like, yeah, this is going to be a mystery, whodunit thing. We're going to sprinkle in some clues here and there. But then it didn't. It just stopped short of that, and it was so frustrating, because I really want to see what these writers can do with that kind of concept, with an actual murder mystery you can follow, with clues, with red herrings, with just like the inherent ingredients that make a great mystery tale. And I don't think any of that was there, except for one thing. There was one thing that started to make me think, hey, maybe this is a clue. Maybe they're trying to spell out some kind of broader thing that's happening in the background. And that involves the scene, and again, spoilers here, that involves the scene where Stan Sitwell leaves the retirement community where he's living with Maybe, and she wants to kick him out. And Maybe finds a paper in his drawers of things that he left behind with a map of Sudden Valley and a bunch of people with X's over their faces that have gone missing. And the one that is not X'd out, at least as far as I could tell, because they show it very quickly, is Lucille Ostero. I think she's circled or something. So it looks like Stan Sitwell was doing something kind of sketchy regarding all these people who have gone missing, and they just kind of linger on that paper for 2 seconds, and then they never mention it again. Now, I was trying to follow the threads in my head, okay? I was trying to be Harry Potter / Sherlock Holmes and do some detective work and see what I could figure out, and I'm like, okay, Stan Sitwell is the father of Sally Sitwell, and Sally Sitwell owns a construction company, and all the people who lived in Sudden Valley were, according to this map, being removed from the equation, and Sudden Valley was owned by the Bluths, who are the competitors of the Sitwells. So I was like, okay, is this a motive here? Is Stan Sitwell killing off everybody who lives in Sudden Valley so that he and his daughter's construction company can buy it out and, basically pull the rug out from under the Bluths and take over that housing community and get rich off of it? I was like, okay, that's cool. Is that what they're trying to tell us here? Is there some kind of mystery going on in the background? And I could dig that, because, again, that's the kind of stuff that the writers of Arrested Development do so well. But then we get to that ending where literally 30 seconds before the show cuts to black, and that's it, the end, we get that very anticlimactic resolution where Lucille Ostero's body falls out of the cement with a huge smile on her face that we don't see. They just allude to, like, she's smiling, she looks really happy. And Buster just says, yeah, it was me, I killed her. And that's it. That is anticlimactic, and I get it, they're trying to be funny, because it is a comedy at the end of the day, and they're trying to make the payoff of this mystery funny, and it's hard to make a grisly murder funny. But I would rather have had the comedy come from the mystery and the clues aspect of it, rather than just like, oh, there's the body, and it was me all along. That just didn't hit for me at all. And compared to the way it ended in season 3, which was funny and poignant and sweet, this was just kind of silly. Like, it ended like a South Park episode, just kind of really abrupt, like just with a nah, and then that's it. And after 6 years and then 10 months of waiting, you can't end like that. That is just kind of disrespectful at that point to the audience that's trying to follow along with your show. And I get it, you're making a joke, you're trying to maintain a certain kind of tone, but Arrested Development has never ended, as far as I can remember, on that tone, on that, nah, the end. It's never ended like that. It's always ended with a joke followed by another joke, followed even sometimes by an inside joke that sets up more. Now, the whole deal with Lucille Ostero smiling, making a big deal of that, like, that's the happiest corpse I've ever seen. Is that them trying to tell us that there's more to the story of her death, and we're supposed to be like, stay tuned for season 6, kids? Or is there just something I'm missing where it's like, she's just smiling and that's it, and we're supposed to understand why that's a thing? I don't know.
Neither do I.
At this point, though, I really, really don't want a season 6. I don't want this to be dragged out and tired and just exhausted by the time we get to the finale. I would love Arrested Development to end in a very period or exclamation mark kind of way instead of a ... kind of way like season 4 and now season 5 have been ending. Not that I don't like cliffhangers. I mean, I wrote a book back there with a cliffhanger, and I love me some cliffhangers. We all know that. But when you've come this far with a show that has died this many times, it would behoove you to sort of know what your point is and work towards it. And if that's what they're doing, that's fine. As long as, they're filming season 6 right now, and we're not waiting another decade for half of that season to come out, because then that's just silly at that point. And staying on the topic of that finale, there were some weird omissions that took place in that final scene. They made a point of showing, everybody together for the first time since, season 3, I think. They made a point of showing the whole family together in one shot, but George, Michael, and Michael were not there. And they had been in that scene. They were literally like 10 feet away, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, where did they go? And they cut away, and the two of them have gotten into the stair car, and they're driving away, and they're leaving the family behind. But you don't see Jason Bateman or Michael Cera for any of that. They're the main characters of the show, guys. Michael and George Michael are the main characters of Arrested Development, and when you have the family standing all together, and then you're just like, oh, where did the main characters go? Oh, I guess they're gone. The end. And you don't even cut to those main characters and give them a final moment. Like, what happened? All I can think of is that those actors just couldn't come and shoot scenes, which feels really sloppy. Like, I'm filming a web series that, I'm patching together like a madman because I can't, do it professionally. And that feels like something I would do because I just don't have a budget.
If you'd like to contribute to a budget, we never turn down donations.
But this is like, the finale of this show that they've been making for almost 2 decades. And the 2 lead characters just sort of vanish. And you're just supposed to be like, okay, cool. There's even a part where they say, oh, look, George, Michael, and Maybe are kissing back there. And they just sort of pan over and you see them in the background, but you can't see their faces. That could be 2 body doubles for all we know. And then again, later on, they're like, oh, George, Michael, and Michael have driven off into the stair car. And you see the stair car, but you don't see anybody inside. I thought they were going to cut to the inside of the car and have like one final scene with those 2, but no, the stair car just drives off and then that's it. We end the show. Something was going on there. Jason Bateman and Michael Cera were not on set that day, and I would love to know the story behind why that is, because that is your finale, folks. You get your stars to be in the finale. So am I disappointed with Arrested Development Season 5 as a whole? No. Am I disappointed with the ending of Arrested Development Season 5? Very much so. If this is, in fact, the ending of the show for good, am I happy with that? I don't know if I would say happy, but I would say satisfied. If they never explain why Lucille Ostero is smiling, if they never explain what that paper was that Stan Sitwell had, if they never explain why we don't see George, Michael, and Michael driving off in the stair car, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. I am just going to be a little bummed out that the ending felt so rushed and cobbled together that it's like I made it. The moral of the story, though, guys, is that Arrested Development is, at the end of the day, still what I consider to be one of the best written television shows of all time. You gotta see it to believe it, especially seasons 1 through 3. I've said it in my review last time, and I'll say it again. Seasons 1 through 3 of this show are a goddamn miracle, and I dare you to not enjoy them. I dare you to not enjoy them. Season 4 was an experiment that at first went kind of wrong, but then became sort of a fascinating study on how to salvage something that goes horribly wrong. And Season 5 was a couple of bite-sized chunks of very good Arrested Development that just sort of petered out and didn't really close on a satisfying enough bang for me. But all in all, taken together, if I, put all 5 seasons together in one big chunk and watch them, I think what we have here is still something very, very worthy of your time. And who knows, maybe you will love the way Season 5 ended. Maybe you like those South Park-y kind of meh endings, in which case you're going to love it and you're going to have a great time. And I'm glad you're going to have a great time, because I like when people have great times with shows and movies that are near and dear to my heart. So that, in a nutshell, or in the case of the marketing campaign, in a shipping container, is Arrested Development Season 5 Part 2. I hope you guys liked it. I liked it for the most part, and I am a little bit sad to see the show go, but at the same time, I'm very happy to see the show go, because it's gotta go sometime. All good things must come to an end, or must arrest their development, as the case may be. That has been Thumb Together TV. That has been Arrested Development Season 5 Part 2. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to pick up a copy of Side Scroller on Amazon.com or .ca or .uk or .org? I'll have to double check that one. But pick up Side Scroller today. You shall not be disappointed. What a journey it's been. What a 10-month wait it's been. Thank you so much for experiencing this with me. My name is Andrew Fantasia. As you can see, I am surrounded by orange, and I'm also surrounded by wonderful people who watch my videos. Thank you so much for being one of those people. I'll see you here next time, and until then, adios.
And that's how you end something properly. On the next Thumb Together.
You know what would be really cool? If the director of this made a movie about really creepy evil clones that have big wide eyes and never blink even once. I could dig something like that. I bet the rest of the world could too.
They sure could.